Hi, Dating at Her Age listeners. This is Caitlyn. I am just jumping on here for an exclusive message ahead of this bonus episode. First off, thank you so much for listening to these episodes, especially these bonus ones, because it just makes me happy that you're listening. So bonus points and gold stars for you if you're listening to this. But this is one of the very first episodes that Debbie and I recorded when we had this idea for this podcast, and we were just trying to get a feel for kind of what we wanted the podcast to be, and we recorded it around Valentine's Day. So the overall theme is just managing holidays when you're single and pretty much just romanticizing your life, specifically during holidays, but at any day, because you need to do that on a regular basis. But during holidays, being single just becomes a little bit louder and you're comparing yourself to other people, Valentine's Day specifically. But since it's the 4th of July, I felt like this was a good day to put this one out as well, because it may not be as obvious of a holiday that you are alone, but it definitely is a reminder if you don't have set plans. Most people are making plans with significant others and posting all over social media, and it can get really annoying, but it's all about perspective, and you don't have to be in a relationship to be happy. And I am an expert in being single. I've been single for majority of my life, other than a few situationships that I've been caught in, but it's taught me really how to just love life being single, and learning how to do that through all the different ways that I'm going to share in this episode. I don't want to give it all away in this little intro, but what am I going to do for the 4th of July? I'm going to get on a plane and go to a different state and third wheel it with one of my besties and her boyfriend. So it's going to be so much fun. And I truly mean that. I'm excited, and I just want everyone else to be able to really romanticize their life and not need a relationship to define them. And in the words of our Lord and Savior, Taylor Swift, you're on your own, kid. And that's totally fine. So let's get into the episode.
I hope we can spend a lot of time laughing about some of my dating disappointments when it comes to holidays, because I've had some real doozies. But what it's also done is I realized it set me up to hate the holidays.
Yeah, that's very relatable. I feel like I don't have as many disappointments, but it's probably because I haven't been through as many Valentines as you have, which, no offense, it's experience. But I'm interested to learn more about your disappointments.
Well, I know I'm in good company, because a lot of my girlfriends will have these same types of experiences. Maybe they're slightly different with the gifts they didn't get, or the gifts that they did get that were like, wah, wah, wah. But let me walk you through this. And I look forward to your tips on how to romanticize our holidays, even if there are total dating fails.
Yeah, and I learned this slowly, that I think that we're kind of in control of that. And the issue overall, I think, has to do with comparison. And I want to kind of explain how, yeah, everybody else may be having a great Valentine's Day, say on social media. We'll say, I don't know if that's real or not, but from the outside, it looks like they are. Well, you're feeling sad, but you don't have to. You're fully in control, and you can romanticize your life and treat yourself, buy your own flowers, do all of these things. And I have a few tips as to how.
I'm so grateful for your tips. But can I share some of my
Yes, please.
dating disasters? There's Pretzelgate.
I need to know more. I don't understand.
For Valentine's Day, my Valentine gave me 3 pretzel rods.
That's it?
I mean, they were chocolate covered. They were one of those pretzel rods, like the kind you get,
I've
the Snyder's pretzels at the grocery aisle. There were 3 chocolate covered pretzels, and they had, I think, sprinkles on them, if I recall. But I was so perplexed as to what it was that I was like, okay, but it. And I let him know it. I was honest with him. I'm like, this is not like you're in love with me and I'm in love with you. We count on each other every single day. Pretzel rods don't do the trick.
Yeah. I mean, for you know what I get for Valentine's Day? A big fat jar of nothing, except for my mom. But I want to know more. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
So pretzel rods. So that was one of the first experiences that I'd had where I was so excited for the day, for Valentine's Day, and then I got 3 pretzel rods. Okay, and then one year when I was dating a man, I won't name names, but he sent me roses to the newsroom where I work. And I was so excited. I was knocking reporters out of the way to get to this. I'm like, I know it. I finally get a box of long stem roses like everybody else is getting. They were DOA. They were dead on arrival. I opened the box, and it wasn't his fault. He had them delivered from a 1-800 call line or whatever, and they were so wilted. By the next day, they were black.
R.I.P. It's the thought that I keep going back to. It's the thought that counts, but it's because I have very low standards. So
and then one Valentine's Day, I had a Valentine show up and give me a bottle of wine, which he said was a $300 bottle of wine. But I knew the truth because I'd just been to the wine store and I saw that it was so weird because I'd seen that exact bottle of wine at the wine store on sale for about $19.99.
Why even lie? Like it's okay if it's a $19 bottle of wine. It's still great. I don't understand that part of it.
I would have been thrilled.
Yeah.
In fact, I was thrilled. And then I saw him turn around that $300 bottle of wine. I don't think I've ever come in the same zip code as a $300 bottle of wine in my life. This is so exciting. I'm sure it's going to be the best wine I've ever tasted. And then he turned the label around.
Shelf.
It was bottom shelf.
I'm sure it was great though. That's usually good. But yeah, I don't.
But you're right. All I could think about was, why is this man lying to me about this?
Yeah,
he wouldn't even have to bring it up.
He was fake love bombing you, pretending to love bomb you, but he couldn't even do it. Right?
It was so weird. So these are 3 examples of why when Valentine's Day rolls around, or I'll even say this, 4th of July, when all of my friends are posting about the fabulous things that they're doing with their significant others, even 4th of July, going to a baseball game or going to a fireworks show, and on Valentine's Day, the long stem roses, I have implemented a 2-day moratorium on looking at social media for me.
Which that's very smart. I think that social media can be very toxic just because it puts all the things that we may or may not really want or choose to see right in front of us, but you can choose to lock yourself out of those for a while.
Well, I want to be clear. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's awesome, but I don't need to feel even worse than I've already kind of felt in the past.
Yeah, protect your peace. Being delusional also. I would say being delusional that what you don't know doesn't hurt you, so you can live in your own little Delulu world and just romanticize your own life. It works. I promise you'll be so much happier.
These holidays, I have just developed a distaste for them, and I know that is not healthy for me. This is where I need you to come in and save the day and turn my mindset around and help me focus on brighter days ahead for holidays. Will you do that?
Yes.
Next. Okay. We're back. It's Debbie and Caitlyn talking about how to romanticize your life. Look, if you're like us and you're single and another holiday is rolling around and you are looking for a way to not feel lonely, even if you are spending it alone, thankfully, the amazing Caitlyn has written down 3 things that she does in her journey, in her dating journey, when she's doesn't have a date, when she's not in a relationship, to romanticize her own life. And what I love about what you're going to share with us, Caitlyn, is that you are in the driver's seat. You're in control.
Yeah, and I think that's going to apply to people who are in relationships as well. Even if your significant other is out of town for Valentine's Day and you're feeling extremely lonely, that doesn't mean you have to be alone and just feeling bad about yourself. But for single people, which is, that's what I relate to because I've been single my pretty much entire life, we have control of our own happiness and we have control to take ourselves out. And that's my first tip. If you want to go, maybe not on Valentine's Day, you might want to think about that. You don't want to go sit alone and watch all the other couples on Valentine's Day. Maybe you do, but take yourself out to the movies. Order in dinner, watch a movie for yourself, and just enjoy your space with yourself. Light some candles, take a bath. Do the things that really enrich your life and just pour into yourself in that way.
What I would love to do with this advice, and by the way, that is incredible advice because I am newer to the dating game. I dated in my 20s and then I got married. I was married for 2 decades, a little bit more than that, and now I'm single again. I'm divorced. I don't really know all of these tips and tricks. So I can I can tend to feel a little bit lost in these moments. And what I'm hearing you say is make a dating plan for yourself and have that plan. On Friday night, I'm going to stay in. I'm going to binge a Netflix show. I'm going to take a long hot shower or bath. I'm going to order in some of my favorite food, and I'm going to just sit there and I'm going to enjoy myself. And what I like about that is during the work week, as you're building up to it, or busy week, as you're building up to that Friday or that Saturday or to Valentine's Day, you already know what your plan is.
Yep. Romanticize your life. And you can do it every single day of the week. You do not have to have a special occasion to do this. And I think every single person in a relationship or not should know how to romanticize their own life and take care of themselves, to just be happy on their own. And I was not this smart 5 years ago. It's something I'm slowly continuing to learn. But the more that you put yourself out there and you do it on your own, you realize that it's not that scary. And it's actually how I prefer to do things a lot of the time, because you don't really have to cater to anybody else or bring in other opinions. You can just be present and be with yourself. I say the movie is a great one because no one's looking at you. Nobody cares that you're even there. And most of the time, nobody cares that you're at lunch either. You just have to get over the fact.
You just hit on something really important, because I do think a lot of us feel, and maybe goes back to our high school days. It's like, oh, everybody's staring at me. They're going to know I'm alone, we're adults now.
Yeah.
And embracing doing things alone is actually a really positive step into self-awareness.
You just can shift that mindset to like, oh, everyone's staring at me because I'm alone. Like, oh, they may be staring at you, but they're probably staring at you because they think you're really cool. Like, oh, look at her.
They think you're beautiful.
Yeah, they look at her being on her own. Like, she's doing great. Look at that queen over there.
That is a light bulb moment for me. So I'm looking forward to your second tip.
My next tip would be put yourself in places that match your vibe.
What do you mean by that?
It pretty much just means go to the places that make you happy instead of the ones that drain you. Because I feel like a lot of people, we go to clubs, bars, nightlife stuff, and maybe that is what enriches your life, and that's where you want to find people. For me, it does not. I want to meet someone in a bookstore or a coffee shop or a nice little brunch restaurant.
So if you're alone in that coffee shop and you meet somebody who's also sitting there in that coffee shop, the odds that they are going to be more on your same page is a lot better than if you just meet somebody at a bar.
Yeah, and
absolutely agree.
I discovered this by going to those places by myself.
You did?
I was like, I feel peaceful here. I feel happy here. And the people that I want to be surrounded with are probably in here. We're just not talking to each other, which that's another issue. The dynamics have changed. People just talk online, and I actually really dislike that because I don't know if someone has an interest in me, or, if I see someone, most people are married, but if, there's someone that I kind of have interest, I'm nervous to talk to them because I don't talk to anybody. And it kind of, a part of that is be open to connection as well. Because if you just go, and maybe the first few times you will be a little nervous and you'll kind of have your head down and reading a book, which is totally fine. But you want to be open and have an open presence so people feel welcome to come talk to you if they are brave enough.
I love that. No, but because I go to a table at the back of a coffee shop.
Yeah.
I put my head down. I read up on my emails or the latest news headlines, whatever the case. But I'm sitting there alone and I got my head, and that's very unwelcoming. What you're saying is go to the area where there's two sofas and a chair.
Yeah, just be aware of your energy.
No, absolutely. I love this. I love that. I'm going to get out of that space that I sequester myself to, like I'm in timeout. And I'm going to now, because of your advice, I'm going to go sit in the sofa area and sit down there and drink my latte. And I could still read my news headlines or read my book.
Yeah.
But that is that's much more welcoming. And if I'm looking to date somebody, then I'm more likely to meet somebody in the lounge area than I am, in the timeout zone.
And it may take a few tries because you're warming up to this situation. It's very easy to just do that and be nervous and kind of keep your head down. It's okay if it takes a few tries. Just put yourself out there.
That's a great tip.
Yeah.
Good. I love it. I love that. And so you've got a third one for us. Third time's a charm. What's your third tip?
Well, lean on your girlfriends or other single people in your life, maybe they're not even single. Maybe they just don't want to be with their significant other for Valentine's Day or any day. Plan date nights with your girlfriends and Galentines, and like a tradition me and my friend, my roommate have every year for Valentine's Day. We order a heart-shaped pizza and we drink wine or whatever your
drink of choices.
Yeah, whatever your drink of choices. Apple cider, go with your heart. But we just do that because that was the first stage of me figuring out how to romanticize your life. I didn't even know I was doing it, but we were both single when we kind of moved in together, and we're like, well, Valentine's Day sucks. What are we going to do? It was like, we're going to make fun of it. We're going to do things that we like to do. And it just kind of, I learned along the way that, I don't need other people to do that.
You don't need a guy asking you for a date. You can plan something with one of your best friends.
Yeah. And not to be, and one thing I'll just preface, you want to be aware of your energy on like getting this confidence, that you want to have too much confidence at the end of the day that you're kind of defensive, like, oh, I don't need a man. Like the confidence is there, but that will make that energy be closed off. And that's something I still struggle with. I don't feel like I need a man or anybody to fulfill my life. I know that. But if you have that defensive energy and you're too much of that, I think that it pushes people away. That's just my opinion. And I'm currently trying to work on that.
So let me see if I can paraphrase this and figure out how to use this in my own life. Don't be so defensive about not being in a relationship that you close yourself off to being in a relationship.
And this is something I've slowly learned, like just recently. I think it's kind of like masculine, feminine energy type of thing. Like you actually may be in that more strong masculine energy if you're being defensive like that, because you can take care of yourself. It's more of the logical and stuff like that, but you may need to lean into the feminine and just receive.
Caitlyn for the win. Those are 3 great pieces of advice on how to romanticize our lives. Thanks, Caitlyn.
Yep, I hope it helps someone. Make sure to follow Dating at Her Age on social media. And if you have any feedback or an opinion about anything we've talked about, you can send us a message or you can give us a call.
801-575-5599. Again, 801-575-5599. It's our Dater Hater hotline. You can leave us a message about your dater hater moment, that time you went on a date and you're like, ugh. You can share it and we may play it back on the air.
Oh, she's dating at her age?
No. It's called Dating at Her Age. Oh, those poor things.